We are tracking Milton's latest moves this morning. It is now tearing up Florida's east coast as a weakening but still dangerous Category 1 hurricane. The massive system roared ashore last night as a Category 3 storm, dousing the state's Gulf Coast and spawning more than a dozen tornadoes yesterday. This morning, we know that 4 people in St. Lucie County on Florida's Atlantic coast have died as a result of those tornadoes. And take a look at this. The roof of Tropicana Field, that's where the Tampa Bay Rays play, almost completely ripped to shreds. The wrath of Milton felt in real time by our own Tom Yamas last night. Watch this.
The situation here in Sarasota is starting to turn dire. At first, we had, okay, we gotta go.
In Washington, President Biden offering these powerful words to Floridians still stuck in the path of destruction.
Evacuation is probably difficult, so I encourage people to look for safer shelter. Sometimes moving just a few miles can mean the difference between life and death. We've got your back, and Kamala and I will be there for as long as it takes to rescue, recover, and rebuild.
And this morning, millions of people are waking up in the dark as communities across the state start the long road to recovery. We are covering Milton from all angles this morning. In just a moment, we'll be talking with Chief Melanie Bevan of the Bradenton, Florida Police Department. That's just south of Tampa on the Gulf Coast. Also, NBC News' Priscilla Thompson, who's in Orlando for us. But first, let's check in with NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra, who's on the ground in Tampa, Florida. Marissa, good morning. Tampa was battered with dangerous wind, lots of rain as Milton roared ashore last night, ripping off roofs from major structures, suspending emergency response services for a time. Tell us what you're seeing there this morning. How bad was the storm surge, and how bad is the flooding concern right now?
Hi, Joe. So I can tell you right now that the sun is just starting to come up. We are just starting to get those images pouring in from around the area to give us a sense of what's really happening. And it is not safe for us to be traveling on the road. So at this moment, I've not been able to see for myself, but I can tell you I've spoken to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. I can tell you I've spoken to folks in St. Petersburg Fire and Rescue. We know that there were several people that were in need of rescuing. We know there was a tree that fell on a home nearby. We know that there were water rescues and still are happening in Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. We know that Tropicana Field, that roof came apart. You might have seen those images. We know that there were people inside. Of course, we are still working on confirming more details, Joe.
Marissa Parra. Marissa, thank you so much. You and your crew, please continue to stay safe out there. Let's go to NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson, who's in Orlando as the storm continues its path east. Priscilla, good morning. Just tell us what you have been seeing and hearing this morning.
Yeah, Joe, well, as you can see, the rain is still coming down here, although much lighter than what we saw overnight. And you're not seeing the trees swaying like they were overnight here as those wind gusts have died down. But it was coming down heavy in the early morning hours as this storm really bore down here in Orlando. We clocked wind speeds of up to 81 miles per hour out in Daytona Beach, about an hour from here. And we have seen this morning there was a point where first responders and emergency crews had to shelter, but now they are back out, and this morning they have been doing a number of water rescues in some of the areas throughout this county that have started to flood. And of course, that was the big threat here. It was going to be flooding. We were looking at potentially up to 14 inches of rain here. I will tell you the good news is that we have been looking at these roads near here, and we are not seeing that devastating flooding, but certainly that is not the case everywhere. But officials here do tell us that they have not seen any major injuries, so certainly some good news there as well.
That is good to hear, but just the fact that you're seeing rescues in Orlando, in Orange County, in Central Florida, tells you just how massive this storm was. It's a good distance away from the Gulf Coast. Residents there, are they listening to the emergency warnings? Are they taking the necessary precautions even now when the warning is don't go out on the streets, beware of power lines, beware of downed trees?
Yeah, it seems so. We certainly haven't seen people out in the streets here. And even in talking to residents yesterday, they were saying that they had been sandbagging, that they were preparing to hunker down. And important to note that this is a tourism area, right? You've got these two major theme parks, Universal and Disney here, both of which close early. But there were also tourists who were here sheltering in resorts. And so we saw videos of some of those folks literally running in through the rain last night. But given that they're not reporting any major issues, it appears that people have heeded the warnings. They were staying in last night. I just heard a car going by behind me just now, so it is possible that people are starting to get out on the roads as the sun comes up. But of course, as you mentioned, officials are urging people not to do that so that they can get out to people who may need to be rescued and work to clear some of these roads and of course get power restored, because we're talking about more than 3 million people across the state without power, including many folks where we are here in Orlando.
Priscilla,
Joe?
talk about what you experienced last night. You weren't on the shore, you weren't on the coast, but were there still heavy winds? Were you still seeing a lot of rain?
Yeah, so we were up until about 10 o'clock last night, and that is when the rain was starting to come down heavier. We were feeling the winds picking up, and there was a loud crack of thunder, and then the power went out before the bulk of this storm even moved through. I will tell you, it wasn't the type of situation where I was not able to get a couple of hours of sleep last night because of how loud things were, but certainly when we got up this morning, you could hear the wind still whistling a little bit, even as that storm was moving away from us. So it was an intense situation, but it appears that people here, for the most part, have remained safe. There was a flood watch in effect here until about 4:30 in the morning, or flood warning. That is now a flood watch. So it appears that we're in the clear, but not totally out of the dark just yet, especially with that flooding, which we knew was going to be potentially the big and potentially deadly issue here.
Yeah, and across Florida right now, more than 3 million people are without power, including many where you are right now. Do we have a sense of how quickly they hope to restore power, and what are some of the measures in place in the meantime for people who need power for various reasons, whether it's hospitals or other areas?
Yeah, that is always the big question. When is power going to be restored and things like that? The good news is it seems like a lot of folks in the area where we are have generators. Even the hotel we're staying at has been able to keep the lights on in the hallways and keep a kitchen running here. And we know that throughout the state they brought in more than 1,000 generators, 700,000 liters of water. And there are also thousands of linemen who are already in the state ready to get out and begin restoring that power as soon as it is safe to do so. But of course, one of the things that's going to be key here is allowing those crews to get on the roads, to clear the debris, to begin assessing the damage, all of that. And they cannot do that if there are a ton of people on the roads looking to survey the damage for themselves. So a word to the wise for those folks like us who are without power, who are looking to get those kind of things restored. It is probably going to be most helpful if you focus on staying at home and not being on the road, so that the people who need to get out and do that work can do that. Joe?
Right, some good advice there. Priscilla, thank you so much. Bradenton, Florida is just south of Tampa. Police Chief Melanie Bevan joins us now with more on what her department is experiencing in the wake of Milton. I can see you are out and about right now. Tell me what you're seeing now that daylight has started to break in the area.
Well, we actually started deploying officers when it was safe enough, when the winds dropped to about 40 miles an hour. Maybe around 2 a.m., they got out there with chainsaws and straps and chains and started trying to get some of these trees out of the road to make it passable for some of our other first responders, people needing help. And we did that because of what's happening behind me. All of our warnings to stay home, give us a chance to make our roadways safe. Nobody's listening to. Well, some people are, but not the folks behind me. My word is if y'all can just give us a day to at least get some basic roadways cleared, that'd be fantastic.
Is the damage as bad as you feared?
It's not. I've been in law enforcement for 38 years. I've responded to a lot of the hurricanes all across the state. You know, back with Charlie and some other ones, you saw entire neighborhoods completely devastated. That's not what we're seeing in Bradenton. Those winds, don't get me wrong, they were strong, over 100 miles an hour. But we're seeing down trees, benches, awnings, that type of thing. But no true destruction to any of our homes and businesses, it appears. It's a very recoverable storm. It's just going to take time, and it's really going to consist of a lot of debris clearing.
Earlier today, you told our friends on the Today Show you figured maybe more than 60% of the city was without power. Do you have a better handle of the power outage situation right now?
Yeah, probably 70%. A lot of folks without power everywhere you go. You're hearing generators humming. That's another concern when you got people playing with generators and gas. I know that we have our first-in teams out. They're trying hard to start restoring power. But again, as I'm standing here, I'm holding this camera. Cars are racing by. There's no emergency that is more important than getting things cleared up and making our roadways safe so that everybody can try to get to their homes.
What is your message? Those cars racing by right now, and I have a feeling when this interview is done, you might go stand on the street there and deliver that message face to face to folks. But what is it you want people to know who are out and about right now? Because one of the biggest worries is that we maybe haven't seen many injuries or fatalities in your area right now, but we could see that now with down power lines or with some of the debris in the road.
Yeah, we have a lot of traffic lights that are dangling, and I'll tell you, people's tempers are short. Some of them have been in shelters. People are tired, but some of this driving out here is reckless, and reckless driving can get you arrested. That's my message to them.
All right, Chief, we thank you for your time this morning. We'll continue to check in with you as you continue to clean up, and hopefully people in your community will heed that warning from you. Chief Melanie Bevan, appreciate your time.
With us.
Hurricane Milton made landfall near Siesta Key, Florida. That's just outside of Sarasota. During our live coverage last night, NBC News senior national correspondent, News Now anchor Tom Yamas and his crew had to actually run for cover. It's after a transform blew as the storm was passing through the area. They are safe, but these images are showing the full impact of the storm. Tom joins us now from Sarasota with more on the devastation the storm has left behind. Tom, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning to you. Look, now that the sun is out, we're getting a better sense of some of the damage around the Sarasota area. It doesn't look too severe from what we've seen so far, but again, it's still very early and the sun's just come out. Behind us, some of the superficial damage here. There is glass as far as the eye can see because a glass balcony shattered on one of these high-rises here in Sarasota, an apartment and hotel complex, and it's all over the ground. People are coming out here. They're trying to assess the damage, see what's going on, but it's still a little dangerous. People are walking with small dogs and kids in some cases here, and there's just too much glass. Mayors across the state are asking people to stay inside because they want to make sure they know that it's safe for people to come out. And in some cases, there's still threats, right? The mayor of Tampa saying she's worried about the rivers flooding now that there's high tide in Tampa. It started at 7 a.m. there from what she told reporters. So they're concerned about that, and we're still getting a damage assessment from the hurricane. Now, when it comes to the tornado, we know what happened. The tornado damage was destructive and deadly in different parts of Florida. There really was nowhere to escape last night, Joe, right? In a lot of Florida, you either were getting hit with those hurricane-force winds, you're getting hit with the storm surge, or the tornadoes were popping up and taking you by surprise. I spoke with the sheriff of St. Lucie County yesterday, who was telling us that his men and women, his brave men and women, were digging through rubble to try to rescue people and pull people out from the tornado damage as they were also facing the storm conditions from Hurricane Milton. It just gives you a sense of what people were dealing with there, Joe.
Filed a report for us this morning. Let's take a look at that.
This morning, storm-weary Floridians waking up to another disaster. Hurricane Milton slamming into Florida's Gulf Coast overnight. A Category 3 hurricane when it roared ashore near Siesta Key, bringing catastrophic storm surge and drenching rain to the region. Water quickly rising, flooding roads and submerging entire neighborhoods, even sparking house fires. St. Petersburg hit with more than 18 inches of rain. Intense wind topping 100 miles per hour, causing a dramatic scene at Tropicana Field, which was supposed to house first responders. Wind ripping through the stadium, chunks of the roof hanging off. The stadium had been converted into a 10,000-person staging area, now exposed and scattered with debris. In Sarasota, the monster storm causing a transformer to explode during our live report.
It's starting to turn dire. At first we had, okay, we gotta go.
Milton's powerful winds snapping trees and flipping cars into homes, and tornadoes posing a major threat. Well over 100 warnings issued Wednesday, the most recorded in a single day in Florida ever.
Like it sounded like a car crash.
Destroying more than 100 homes, ripping off roofs, and completely knocking down homes across the central and southern part of the state. The twisters being blamed for multiple fatalities, one touching down at a senior center in St. Lucie County and leaving this sheriff's station a mangled mess.
It's a 10,000 square foot red iron structure that was housing all of our high water rescue vehicles was hit by a tornado in 50 yards away, and it completely wiped it out.
Nearly 100,000 residents taking cover across the state. President Biden delivering this message.
To the people of Florida and all the impacted states, we've got your back. We've got your back.
Long lines of ambulances sent to evacuate hospitals and senior centers. Some healthcare workers staying behind to care for those who couldn't be moved.
We can rebuild, but saving people's lives is, of course, the most important thing.
Utility crews now beginning the race to restore power and cell service as National Guard troops from at least 9 states are being deployed to help. Now, after enduring 2 hurricanes in just 2 weeks, many residents worry what this new recovery will involve. Terry Burke's home in St. Pete was ripped apart by Helene.
We lost everything.
She had to evacuate 2 hours away to stay with family.
And you get pretty overwhelmed.
Evacuees also fearing for their neighbors who chose to stay behind.
We'll be there to help them when we come home. We just need to care about one another.
And Joe, there's still more than 3 million customers throughout the state of Florida without power right now, and it might be days, if not weeks, before they can get that power on in some communities because of the damage. But again, we're just getting the assessment now. We are already seeing rescue workers, first responders, line crews out and about, at least here in Sarasota, making sure people are okay. So that's always a good sign. I'm going to send it back to you.
Yeah, the work begins. Tom, long night for you and your team. We thank you for all your hard work. Appreciate it. Let's check in with NBC meteorologist, Today Show co-host Dylan Dreyer, who's in Bradenton, Florida. Dylan, good morning. We just spoke with the police chief from Bradenton a few minutes ago. She said it wasn't as bad as she feared. I believe the word she used was recoverable still. Lots of damage, lots of rain, lots of wind. Talk about how bad the storm was at the peak and just what you are seeing right now.
Yeah, well, you know, when the sun comes up, it changes the landscape of everything, Joe. And this tree was actually something we drove around to get here earlier this morning. But now we can see it's an entire tree that's toppled over, taken down some of the power lines with it as well. So that's why we're seeing so many power outages here, because this storm, although the storm surge was not as high as we were expecting here, because of that little wobble in the track, because it moved just a little in the right direction for this area to kind of save Tampa Bay, to save Sarasota, to save Bradenton. It really helped with the flooding potential here. But the wind damage is what we're seeing a lot of as we drove around this morning and as we walk around. Actually, I was speaking to a restaurant owner, Bob, who owns a restaurant up the street, and he said Helene destroyed the inside of his restaurant because of flooding. And he said Milton destroyed the outside because of the wind. So, you know, this certainly for this area seemed to be more of a wind situation with a lot of the damage we're seeing.
And that's an important reminder. This area has seen 2 significant hurricanes in just the last 2 weeks. Dylan, describe what it was like being just on the ground in the middle of this hurricane when it made landfall late last night.
Joe, I mean, literally the middle of the hurricane. We were in the eye of the storm at one point. You know, before the storm came through, we saw the gusty winds. We saw the rain. It was bad, right? And the power went out. I saw a transformer blow outside my window. And then we were in the eye of the storm. All of a sudden, it's calm. There's not a drop of rain falling from the sky. There's not the slightest breeze. And then the backside of the storm came through. That's when we got those wind reports at Bradenton Airport, which is where we were staying right next to, of 102 miles per hour, now coming from the other direction. So they were coming right to my window at the hotel we were staying at, to the point where I thought the windows were going to blow. So I spent most of the night sleeping on the floor in the bathroom because I just knew that was a safer place to be in case anything were to happen with the windows or the AC unit in the wall there. So it certainly was a scary night, you know, when you factor in winds that strong, and then naturally to see all the tree damage and the wind damage we saw this morning kind of comes with the territory.
We're still waiting to hear more reports of south of where you are and maybe whether the storm surge was higher there, whether we're going to see more reports of damage. But just from what you experienced where you are, Dylan, was this hurricane as bad as it was predicted to be?
I think the storm is in several different facets here, because not only are we on the heels of Hurricane Helene, I mean, it was only 13 days between two landfalling major hurricanes in Florida. You've got debris because of that hurricane that was now being tossed around in the winds of this hurricane. So we also had about 18 inches of rainfall in St. Pete. So you had your urban flooding because of that. And I would say the only thing for this area that saved us so that we weren't dealing with the wind and the flooding was the fact that it took that wobble and it pushed the storm surge a little farther to the south. We don't have a lot of reporting stations to see just how high the storm surge got in those areas south of us down to Fort Myers. So it'll be interesting to see what the reports come back with today from folks on the ground to see just how high that water got. But I think we touched on all the different facets of this storm, even underestimating the tornado threat across eastern Florida, which ended up being deadly.
Exactly. We know of at least 4 fatalities in St. Lucie County there. So even though the brunt of the storm is past, we know the National Hurricane Center is warning there could still be dangerous conditions throughout today. What could still be the biggest threat to people now and in the coming hours?
Well, I think at this point, we're coming up to and just beyond the high tide of the river flooding, not for the coastal flooding. So, I mean, we're talking about 10 to 18 inches of rainwater. That needs to go somewhere. So it goes into the creeks and it goes into the rivers and a lot of the water basins around here. So flooding of those could still be an issue. And I also want to point out, as the sun comes out, it looks like it's going to be a nice day. There are so many folks. There are millions of people without power, without air conditioning. So while they're trying to clean up and go back to daily life, we don't know when the power is going to come back on because the crews have a lot of work to do. And if we're talking about heat and humidity, it just makes it dangerous for the folks who are trying to go back to their home to clean up and have nowhere to cool off.
Important point there. All right, Dylan Dreyer, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time this morning. Back here in the studio, meteorologist Angie Lassman's tracking Milton's latest forecast for us all morning long. What's the latest, Angie?
Hi there, Joe. Let's talk about how historic this system has been. We're starting to see the forecast kind of wind down with impacts, but boy, we are likely going to see this name be retired here when it's all said and done after we get those surveys out and kind of get an idea of exactly what kind of damage and fatalities are coming along with this storm. You heard Dylan mention it was only 13 days between Helene and Milton. That is the shortest time span on record between two major landfalling hurricanes for the state of Florida. And that is not the only kind of stat that we're tallying up this morning. The 10th major landfall to make 10th major hurricane rather to make landfall in the past 8 years in the United States. Just impressive to say the least. We've got 5 U.S. landfalls this season. That puts us in the top 2 of the most on record, and the 3rd landfalling hurricane for Florida just this year, just this season. So it just shows you how active it is. We of course have climate change as a big influence. We've got the potential for endless fuel when it comes to those extremely warm waters across the Gulf of Mexico that of course can be related to climate change. We've got the chance for stronger rainfall events with more moisture being held in the atmosphere, and we've even got the potential to see more of these tropical tornadoes spinning up. That's some new research that has recently been done that those will become more frequent in these tropical events with those tornadoes, which we of course saw play out for the east coast of Florida yesterday with the most tornado warnings issued in one day in history for the state of Florida. So just impressive all around when it comes to impacts. I caution people to say that it wasn't as bad as we expected, and when you have multiple fatalities when it comes to tornadoes, you have incredible flooding that occurred across the Tampa Bay area because of freshwater flooding. And then we will still wait and see. You heard Dylan mention the storm surge and how it shaped up for points south of where that landfall was. Right now, still a Category 1 hurricane. This is eventually going to become extra tropical. It doesn't matter for us, really. We're still going to start to see things winding down. It's going to work its way offshore even more. It's moving at a pretty good clip of 18 miles per hour, so that'll be out of the picture temperature here before you know it. And we're already seeing improvements across a good chunk of this region. It's really just the Space Coast, Cape Canaveral, and points inland towards Orlando where we're still seeing some additional rain. But all the heavy stuff is offshore, and it's going to keep moving that way. If you live in Merritt Island down to Melbourne and out towards Orlando, still some rain in the picture. But again, you're going to see some quieter conditions here shaping up for you. When it comes to the winds, those are going to calm down as well. But notice we're still talking 58-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the last hour for Daytona Beach. We've got over 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts for Melbourne, Orlando, just about in those low 30s for Okeechobee as well. And that stretches down into parts of South Florida, too. Those numbers will continue to decrease. But we could still see a couple more, additions to the power outages with anything over 50 miles per hour, especially focused across the Space Coast. Really impressive wind gusts yesterday, specifically on the West Coast into those overnight hours, over 100 miles per hour for St. Petersburg, Sarasota, Egmont Channel. No surprise there. They were in that kind of northern eye wall. So they had the strongest wind and, by the way, some of the strongest rain happening with just incredible rainfall rates of 2, 3, 4, even 5 inches per hour across the same spots. So it was no surprise that we've seen the flooding alerts up for parts of the East Coast stretching down to the West Coast, Joe. This is going to be something that, will take a little while to recede, especially with over 5 inches of rain falling in a short period of time for St. Petersburg and more than 18 inches across the day in total. So 8 million people still at risk for this flooding. This number has decreased. That's good news. We also have seen storm surge predictions come down. It's just parts of the West Coast, just a sliver of where we were expecting the worst of it to be around 1 to 3 feet over the next few hours. That'll go for parts of the East Coast as well as that system continues to pull away. So there is some good news. The forecast shows some improvement, but of course it's the damage that now we'll see.
Exactly. All right, Angie, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.